What's up,
What's
everybody?
good, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to the Kingdom Cast Saturday NFL Picks Edition. We're your boys, Scott, Bo, Nick, coming to you live here this weekend. We're going to pick some games and talk some Chiefs news and see what all y'all think here. Join us in the comments, what you think and what your picks are and how you guys doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. One of my kids is a little under the weather, but other than that, just hanging out and ready for some Chiefs football tomorrow. What about you, Bo?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Sadly, I'm not there with you guys anymore. Had a fun time out with you guys in Kansas City. Got to see the W. Wasn't quite the blowout we had hoped for, but a W nonetheless. So I'll take it. Still on the high from that trip though. I had a great time.
Yeah, it's always good to have you here in KC, bro, and go to a game. And you got your first win, regular season win in Arrowhead. So it was a little bit of a nail biter. Another one of those games that shouldn't have been. The offense moved the ball, and the defense actually played pretty well, albeit against the Giants and Daniel Jones and Devontae Booker. But the Giants have got some decent offensive pieces. Obviously, no Saquon Barkley currently, but a little closer than we would have liked. But not everybody blows out everybody every week. So we'll take the win. We'll move on to the game here tomorrow against Green Bay Packers. Sans Aaron Rodgers. We'll break that down in a little more detail, and I've got some kind of different, interesting thoughts on what that means for the Chiefs. So, right now, news: Chiefs are relatively healthy. I see here that it looks like Bo's got the injury report here, and Remmers is the only person limited or having an injury issue right now.
Yeah, didn't really see what it was, but he's the only one that was listed as questionable, if not out. Everybody else is healthy and had full practices on Friday.
That's extremely good fortune at this point in the season to be that healthy. You can't ask for more than that at week 8, week 9. I mean,
yeah, I know a lot of our players. They were looking iffy there for whoa, I don't know what just happened there. Looking iffy for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it seems everybody's turning the corner, look healthy, ready to go. I mean, just in time for a dangerous Packers team. A little less dangerous now, but as you said, we'll get into that. Yeah, not much to report on the injury front, but we do have some Chiefs updates that happened this week. Acquired some new players. If you want to get into that.
Yeah, they made the trade for Melvin Ingram with the Steelers. Chiefs reportedly gave up a 6th-round pick. That's I don't want to say that's a throwaway pick, but it's a throwaway pick, like round 6. Right. Every once in a while, you can catch lightning in a bottle and get an impact starting player in the 6th round. But Melvin Ingram obviously is not what he was a few years ago when he was on the opposite end of the line there in San Diego at that point. The Chargers from Joey Bosa. Chiefs fans should be familiar with Melvin Ingram, obviously, from his time there. Once dominant player that perhaps could give us some rotational depth, maybe can play some good football, maybe has a little bit left in the tank here, help the defense get that pass rush going for the remainder of this season and hopefully into the playoffs. What do you all think? What are you expecting to get from Melvin Ingram, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that any help we can get in that defensive front is good. If he plays and he plays consistently, I think that that's probably also a sign that Chris Jones is going to be moving more to the inside again. I know that he played there against the Giants and had some disruptive plays there, so it was good to see that. So, look, I mean, any help we can get on defense, right? Any positive we can get, it's just we've seen some of these other guys that we've picked up in the past. Josh Gordon and then Le'Veon Bell last year, and you just hope that that he sees playing time if he's going to have an impact. So, we've got some of these guys, and then you don't really see him on the field a lot, and you just kind of wonder, like, what the hell? Why do we get them? Why do we trade a pick if they're not going to play? So, I mean, I think that it would be good, but it's just if he's going to see the field. So.
Yeah, we say it on this podcast all the time. Like, anything can't be worse than what we've got. So I'm excited to see a somewhat proven addition to our defense to maybe fill in some of the gaps there. Whether or not he's going to come in and be an immediate game changer, I doubt that's going to be the case. But again, anything to kind of help out. I kind of see it as like a coaching move, right? Let everybody know that their job isn't safe. We're looking for everybody. Like, better step it up. If you think you're a little too smart for football, you might not be. There's positions that are up for grabs right now. So, I mean, I'm excited. It's a way for our defense to get a little bit better. So anything that can do that, I'm excited for.
Sure. Maybe he gets a hot stretch for a game or two, and you'll take that right now for this defense. Mm-hmm. So the other addition, Daniel Brown from the Jets. He's not a name that very many people are familiar with, I don't think. I had never heard of him before the trade. I believe it was a trade, right, LDT, for Daniel Brown. Is that correct?
I think so. I think another 6th round or 5th round pick or something as well, but yeah.
So, yeah, the Chiefs, they like tight ends. Andy Reid's offense is predicated on a lot of tight end sets and things like that. So when they lost Jody Fortson, kind of makes sense for them to go bring in another tight end. He's got big shoes to fill. Jody Fortson looked like he was turned a corner in his career and was going to be an impact player. So we'll see what we get out of him. Again, at this time of the year, and you rarely see blockbuster trades in the NFL anyway. I think the last blockbuster trade I remember seeing during the season was maybe – didn't the Broncos trade Clinton Portis for what was the secondary player's name? Oh, God.
That was a while ago, though.
It was a while ago. Yeah, it just goes to show you how
Champ Bailey,
yeah, for Clinton Portis. Just goes to show you how rare blockbuster trades are. Big name players switching teams, especially during the season. So we'll see what the guys can do. Team could use some help.
I think the Brown acquisition was just trying to fill in that gap they lost when Jody Fortson went out. Other than that, I can't think of why they would add another tight end at this point, with however many other problems we have going on right now.
We're going to field an offense that's entirely made up of tight ends, Bo.
Would they be a tight end?
We ran 3 tight ends in a play before. That's not nothing new for us.
Right. Everybody can't be an end player, though. Technically, you can only have 2 tight ends, right? I mean, if you think about it. But I be interested to see what those guys can provide. So, I guess you guys looks like maybe the first game we got here is Minnesota and Baltimore. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't have the spread on there. I had the spread on all the other games, but yeah. Let's get into picking some games here.
Nick, you want to lead us off on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you could not pick Baltimore in this game after the Minnesota game last week. Tell Ash I'm sorry, Bo, but I just think that Baltimore is too strong, and Minnesota, they just for whatever reason, they seem like they're consistently underperforming as a team. They're a talented group, but, when you get lit up by Cooper Rush, I mean, it's just hard to say that you're going to then bounce back from that and beat Lamar Jackson. So I'm gonna pick Baltimore in this one.
Bo?
Yeah, sadly, I have to go with Baltimore as well. I mean, I feel like I've hyped Minnesota up as much as I possibly can, and I just have to let that balloon go and say goodbye to it. They just find a way to lose every week. I don't understand, And yeah, like Nick just brought up, they lost to Cooper Rush, somebody that like ask anybody else in the league, hey, who's Minnesota's second string? They would have had no idea. Or excuse me, yeah, you know what I mean. But
Cowboys.
yeah, Cowboys extra. Yeah.
The question though is, are you guys unpacked enough to where you have your extra blankets so you can sleep on the couch?
Yeah, I have plenty of KC blankets for that occasion.
Bo lives on the couch. What you talking about?
You mean my bed?
Yeah, same here, man. I talked last week on this show and the other show I do, the Shank Club NFL, with those guys, and I bragged up the Vikings, and they've got some good players, and they've got a good quarterback, and they're a sneaky team, and I think they could win even without, even with Dak Prescott, but definitely if Dak didn't play, Minnesota would win that game, and then they just went out there and lost to a guy that most people, if you would have asked who Cooper Rush was before this last game where he started for the Cowboys, most people would have thought he was like a character in the next Fast and the Furious movie or some shit. Like, fucking who knows, man. So, yeah, they lost to Cooper Rush. Nick, you make a good point there. If you have a hard time with Cooper Rush, you're going to have a handful with Lamar Jackson. So, Minnesota, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I tried, but I can't. I don't think I can pick Minnesota to win another game the rest of the year. Be quite honest with you after that performance. So I will go with the Ravens as well.
Clean sweep for Minnesota. Sorry, my love. That's just the way it's got to be. This next one's pretty interesting. Two teams that were looking pretty good aren't looking too good right now at the moment, facing off right now. Cleveland Browns at Cincy. Who do you got, Nick?
Well, this is kind of like they've reverted back to the Browns and the Bengals that we knew, right? Look, I think Baker he has like a torn labrum still, right? I mean, I know he's going to play, but I don't think they should be playing him. They should be getting that guy healed up. It's not his throwing shoulder, but it's hard to say that he's going to go out there and be effective. They've had a lot of distraction with the OBJ shit going on. Where was it like the OBJ's dad posted a video of Baker Mayfield either not throwing the ball to him or missing him like for like 11 minutes, which is just family members in the NFL just drive me nuts, man. It happens with our team. It happens with other teams. It's just like, you wonder if like he's telling his dad to post that, or if his dad is gonna say something, or like if he's like, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this, but all that aside, I think that the Jets have had a couple of surprising games this year, right? They beat the Titans, they beat the Bengals. I'm still gonna go with the Bengals here, just a healthier quarterback, and I think that the Jets kind of had some new blood there with that backup QB, kind of a bit of an unknown. So I think the Bengals are going to take this one. I would take them and give the points still.
What do you got, Scott?
The Browns, after a hot start and looking like one of the better teams in the AFC, have kind of fell flat on their face here. Injuries have not helped them. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, both. Everybody talked about, they got the most dynamic running back duo since who knows when, and then both those guys get hurt. Baker's playing injured. I don't know. I don't know how much of it is Baker telling him he's okay to play. I don't know how much of it is they're desperate and had high expectations for this season and don't want to crush those, don't want to take the air out of that ship's sails, so to speak. But the guy is hurt, and maybe if he really is your franchise quarterback, you can't keep playing him hurt and risk worse injury or lose games you should win because you've got a guy out on the field that is not 100%. So I don't know what the Browns are doing. This is kind of like some shit you'd expect to see from the Browns of 2, 3, 4 years ago, the last 20 years before that, right? Just bad decisions as a franchise. The Bengals, on the other hand, looks like they're on the up and up, although they lost to the Jets last week and Mike White. So they're a team that I think they're on their way to relevancy, but they're not quite there, and they've had some hiccups. They had a game where they struggled against the Jags earlier in the year too, so they're not all the way there yet. I probably picked the Bengals. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bengals. I don't really feel too comfortable with that, though. I think the Browns can come out and run the ball, and the Bengals could struggle, kind of like they did against some of the opponents that are definitely not as good as the Browns. But the Browns, that was a really disappointing loss to the Steelers last week too. The Steelers are a shell of their former selves. Ben Roethlisberger is on life support at this point in his career. So to lose that game was brutal for the Browns, for the organization, for the fans, for everybody. I think maybe that carries over a little bit to that letdown and disappointment. But a friend of mine, Carl, from the Shank Club NFL show, he said maybe this will spark the Browns because when the Browns got OBJ and then he got hurt and ended up missing the season, that's when they really took off and the offense seemed to maybe be unlocked. You had that headache and that burden of needing to feed OBJ and keep him happy. You were relieved of that stress and that burden. So maybe that's happens here. I don't feel good picking either team in this game, but I'm going to pick the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I feel like OBJ has been nothing but a distraction since he got to Cleveland. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of like the better move at this point that the Cleveland Browns have made all season, just cutting ties with him, laying that to bed, saying we're done. Let him do wherever he goes. They're fine with that. I agree. I think it's going to be better for the morale of the locker room and ultimately better for the team come Sundays. The Bengals, I mean, we've seen their moments of brilliance this year, but we've also seen them lose to some pretty pitiful teams. They're one of those teams that when they're firing on all cylinders, they're one of those teams that look really hard to beat. I don't see Cleveland coming into Cincy and being that really hard team that really good team that beats them. Joe Burrow's looking great. Cincinnati's I just think the better team in this one. So I got Cincy with the points.
Right. And before we move on to the next game, what are your all's thoughts on OBJ? First of all, do you think he's still I don't know what you want to call, do you still think he's a top 10, top 15 type wide receiver?
I think he's a wide receiver too, if you play fantasy.
Yeah. And also, where do you think he might end up, and will he be a headache for the next team?
I mean, it depends on where he ends up. Is he going to waiver wire? Is that what they ultimately decided?
Yeah, he'll be released, so he'll go to waivers. So first team to claim him.
And he's going to carry almost $8 million in a cap hit for this year.
They restructured that, so it's only $1 million.
They ended his. I don't know. I was just seeing tweets out.
They converted. That's what it was, but the Browns converted some of his salary to bonus.
Okay.
To get it to get it off of this year's numbers, so it's only $1 million hit this season to whoever picks him up.
I mean, so the waivers. I mean, there's a lot of terrible teams on that. I mean, they got like Houston and both New Yorks and a bunch of other teams that could use some wide receiver help. I just said it. I don't even think he's a wide receiver too. I kind of think like it depends on the locker room that he's going to go into, if they're even going to accept a personality like that, if he's matured enough to take it down a notch, and be more of a team player instead of like an individual. I have no idea where he's going to land up. People like Twitter's blowing up thinking that he might even come to the Chiefs. That I don't think is a possibility. I don't think we would even want him at this point. Who knows? Maybe he goes to Houston. What do you think?
Scott, I mean, I was watching you on Shan Club. I think that what you said was both funny and probably true about the Lions. I don't want to steal your take, but I don't think that. I mean, look, he was a problem in New York, right? And then he got traded to the Browns, and was a problem there. And there's no reason to think that he's not going to be a problem wherever else he goes. Maybe if he could find a top tier type QB that is on a team that doesn't have a good receiving core. I mean, maybe he could be happy if he's getting the ball all the time, but I just don't see like any contender willing to take that kind of risk right now, because I mean he's just how is it that like your top receiver goes out last year for the Browns and your team gets better, right?
Yeah.
Like
He's
I mean,
not your top receiver. That's
well, I mean, yeah, most talented, whatever you want to call it, right? But like that's the thing is like I mean, it just means that he's more of a distraction and a detraction from the team than he is, adding to their output. So I don't know. I know I texted you guys. I was like, OBJ to the Chiefs. Yes.
People are still thinking that on Twitter, though.
Yeah.
Dude, I ran I ran a poll on the Kingdom Cast Twitter account, and a majority of the votes said, yeah, they would want OBJ on the Chiefs. It was like 41. The three options were yes, no, and hell no. And yes got like 41%. That was the winner. That most Chiefs fans, at least that responded to the Kingdom Cast poll, wanted OBJ on the team. I don't get it. I think the dude's best days are behind him. I think he made his name on a couple of really spectacular catches. He played in New York, which anytime you do anything good there, it's going to be amplified and magnified more than it really is because of that market. The dude's a head case. It's, one of those things where it's, what's the common denominator, right? He keeps going to these different teams, and he's the problem. So I don't know where he ends up. I just can't imagine. I would not want him on the Chiefs. I don't think, like Bo was saying, I don't think he's that good anymore. He just turned 29 years old, which is not over for a wide receiver, but that's getting closer to the end than the beginning. And it's been, 4 seasons since he was now some of that's because of injury, but so what? I mean, injury takes its toll on everybody, and it's been at least 3 seasons since he was a premier wide receiver in this league.
Yeah, relevant.
Why you would bring that headache on yourself for a guy that you're not even sure if he's even that good anymore? That's why I was kind of making the joke, but it really wasn't that much of a joke about him going to the Lions. That'd be the perfect situation for that guy. Team that doesn't know what they're doing with a receiver that doesn't know what he's doing. But we can move on. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. And like I said, I ran that Kingdom Cast poll, and I'm just going to tell the Kingdom flat out, do better. Voting yes on bringing OBJ to the Chiefs.
We already took our flyer on a receiver with troubled pass this year. So.
Right. Yep. For sure.
If our current receiving core could just hang on to the ball, we'd be fine.
Right. What game you got next?
Next, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. I wasn't originally going to pick this game, but everybody in the Shan Club seems to really enjoy the 49ers, so I did it for your boys. I loved all their takes on this one. I love the people that don't like the 49ers on their takes. But what do you guys feel about this game, Scott? How are you feeling?
Well, I was the only one on that show that picked the Cardinals, but then again, that's a bunch of 49ers homers on that show. So
that's good, man.
Yeah, no, I know that's what you meant. So I picked the Cardinals. They beat San Francisco earlier in the year. It was a closer game than some of the Cardinals' other games had been. The 49ers defense was able to hold them down, but the 49ers have lost another key defender, Jimmy Ward, in their secondary. They're starting to drop like flies. They get George Kittle back, but after all the time he's missed, hell, it's been over a year since he scored a touchdown in the NFL. So who knows if he's even 100%. Got to get back into playing shape. I think the wrong team is favored here. The only reason the 49ers are catching those points is because they're at home, which anymore in the NFL, if you watch these games, it's home field advantage is fucking dead for most teams, it seems like. Seems like most teams, I like the Chiefs the last couple of years, not to bag on Arrowhead, but it seems like they've had a better record on the road than they have at home for some reason. So I don't know how much the home field advantage, especially for a team like the 49ers in a new stadium. I know they've got a rabid fan base, but I think they said they've lost 4 or 5 straight home games now going back to last year. the 49ers have at Levi Stadium. I think the wrong team is favored. I like the Cardinals to win by, I don't know, 6 to 10 points, somewhere in there. Nick?
Well, I'm confused. I didn't know that San Francisco still had a football team. I thought I thought they moved to like Santa Clara or somewhere, but yeah, I think Arizona's too strong of a team. I know it's a divisional game, so they typically play those closer, but Arizona, I mean, is one of the premier teams of the league. Did you guys say this morning Kyler Murray, he's like a game time decision or something?
Yeah.
Is it an ankle or a knee issue with him? He's got some sort of minor.
He got hurt on like the last series of their game. I didn't watch it,
Yeah.
but that's what I heard. And he limped off the field, but he played the whole game.
Right.
But yeah, game time decision. He didn't practice this week. That's what I heard. Him and D-Hop.
Nope.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe that's driving right that line the way that it's going, but I just think Arizona is just too good of a team. I'm gonna take them in this one.
Yeah, I too have the Cardinals. I don't understand why everybody thinks the 49ers will win or Vegas will. Unless Kyler Murray doesn't play, then I could see that being the case. But I've seen a lot more stubborn players play than Kyler Murray, and I think he's going to even play even with his limp.
Right.
For that reason, they've only lost to the Packers, and so they're just a great football team. They've dominated everybody they've come across. So I see that just kind of continuing, even though they're coming off that loss. No reason for them to be down and out too bad. I got the Cardinals by a field goal. Next game, we got the Tennessee Titans at the LA Rams. This was just more for the news story involved with one of the teams. I'm sure both of you know. As we both know, or as we all know, King Henry's out for the season, so that's drastically changed the Titans' outlook and kind of the AFC playoff picture as well. Obviously, this game's kind of a no-brainer. I think we're all going to sweep this one, but what's your guys' thoughts on this game? And with Derrick Henry being out for the season, the Titans' chances of making it, and implications in the AFC?
Yeah, Derrick Henry injury. Oh, sorry, Nick. Derrick Henry injury is huge for that team. Not only is he a major, and Nick was talking about this, I think, last week when we talked about when you got one guy, he kind of, analogized him to Jamal Charles when he was with the Chiefs. He was accounting for a bunch of the team's yards and plays and touches. And they've got A.J. Brown. Julio Jones is the jury's kind of out on him on what he is at this point in his career. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback. I don't know if anybody's going to put him up there in the elite status, though. And a lot of what they do in the passing game is predicated on the fear of the run and the play action. So that's a brutal loss for the Titans, and that sucks. I hate to see that, man. Like Derrick Henry, by all accounts, is a good dude. He's a phenomenal running back. Patrick Mahomes called him last week, said one of the best of all time when talking about Derrick Henry. And I think when you look at some of the numbers he's put up, I mean, he was on pace to put up back-to-back 2,000-yard rushing seasons. So that's pretty amazing. You look at some of the best running backs of all time, they never even have one 2,000-yard season, let alone back-to-back. So dude's a beast. That sucks to see him go out and lose, the rest of his season because of injury. The Rams, on the other hand, they're trending upwards. They bring in Von Miller from the Broncos, who went 0 in his career against the Chiefs and with Patrick Mahomes, I should say. So they add an edge rusher. Their defensive line looks extremely nasty now with Aaron Donald and Von Miller. I said at the beginning of the year that Stafford trade unlocked the Rams. I thought that made them instantly one of the, if not the most dangerous teams in the NFC. They've lost one game, I believe. It's kind of surprising they got shellacked by the Cardinals in that game, but everybody has a bad game. The Packers got shellacked by the Saints, so that can happen in a one-off week. The Rams look legit. Cooper Kupp looks just like he's taking his game to another level with Stafford. They got offense and defense. out there in LA with the Rams. So yeah, I like the Rams easy in this. I think this could be 2 or 3 possession win for LA.
Yeah, the Rams.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sorry. Well, I'm having a hard time not talking over people today. They did sign Adrian Peterson, right? So, grasping at straws there a little bit. 38-year-old AP. I hope he
the ghost of AP.
But
I said last week, the dude's the punk rock of NFL running backs. The dude just will not. He'll never die. Punk will never die. Adrian Peterson will never die.
Him and Frank Gore, right? Are gonna.
We'll be sitting here. We'll be sitting here week 7 the 2029 NFL season, and someone will be fucking bringing Adrian Peterson in on free agent.
I would have picked with a healthy Derrick Henry. I still would have picked LA in this game. But I will say that don't be surprised if the Titans come out and still have a good amount of success running the ball, right? Because I know Derrick Henry is a transcendent running back, and we've all seen him truck people and stiff arm people and throw them, like they're rag dolls, but they're professional football players. But a lot of these teams, like you saw it with the Browns a couple of weeks ago, right? They had some running back 3 come in and just tear it up, and so a lot of that is based on their scheme. The Baltimore Ravens are another team. It seemed like everybody get hurt, all their running backs get hurt, and they still have success running the ball. And so I think a lot of that is, credit to the offensive line. So I would say that maybe, they're not going to be dead in the water totally. They're definitely going to be hurting. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them come out and still be able to put up some pretty good running numbers. But like I said, even with a healthy Derrick Henry, I would have picked LA in this game. I think that they're just very strong on both sides of the ball. They have a very innovative, young head coach that isn't afraid to take risks and look at the kind of the new school of analytics and how that impacts the game. Matt Stafford, like you said, I mean, he's quietly been just a phenomenal quarterback for years now, and he's just been rotten in Detroit. So, and then now they're adding Von Miller, probably not going to be a huge impact this week coming into a new team, but I just think that they were too strong to begin with. So.
I would be surprised if the Titans were able to come in and put on a strong run game with the addition of Von Miller to that Rams defense. I think he is one of those players that you put on your team and he will immediately make an impact, especially when you have most teams double and triple teaming Sam Darnold, Aaron Donald. Sorry, excuse me, getting my names all mixed up. Aaron Donald here. Yeah, it just opens up a whole new defensive scheme for that team. And without that great running back threat, those guys are just going to crush it. They're not going to have to worry about this train that they have to stop. They're just going to be thinking bloodlust. They're going for the quarterback, going for that ball every single time. I bet you we see the Titans get rushed like we've never seen them get rushed before. I think the Rams take it. I think it by more than 7 easily. I think it's going to be a shellacking, as Scott said. Oh, yep.
So we've got a comment here from something I can't read, but question: who's the best football player in the world? Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, Pablo? Dude, I'm just going with Zlatan, all right? Just because I like his style, so that's my answer.
Maybe read the comments before you put them up. I don't know.
I did read the comments, Scott. It's obviously a joke about football.
Gotcha.
Patrick Mahomes.
At this point in their career, probably Lewandowski. I would go with him, but.
Ooh, man.
Thanks for watching. Anyway, even though this is an American football show.
I like that Nick said Zlatan. I'm a big Ibra fan. I've seen him. He's the only one of these guys I've seen play live, but I'd have to go Messi. Anyway, back to American football.
Now back to your regular scheduled programming.
Great segue. Next game here, we got the Patriots at the Panthers. Interesting game. We got some players returning. What do you guys make of this, Nick? Who you got?
Yeah, this is an interesting one for sure. Like the Panthers, they have McCaffrey back, right?
Mm-hmm.
New England, they're kind of a hard team to figure out. Like, are they good or are they not good, right? I think they're just kind of that middle tier. There's two middle tier teams. I'll go coaching advantage with New England. I'll take the Patriots in this one. What do you think, Scotty?
New England beat the Chargers last week. The Panthers, I don't know if I'm ready to give up on the Panthers. And the Sam Darnold, and maybe that's why he's fallen off, because he's playing defensive line for the Rams now too. Maybe that's hurting his play at the quarterback position.
Yeah, probably.
With the Panthers, but I didn't even know you could play for two teams. I don't know that they get Christian McCaffrey back. They've won some games, some decent games, but they've also lost some games that leave you scratching your head. The Patriots, Mac Jones has looked to be maybe the best of all the rookie quarterbacks to play this year, which is kind of surprising and kind of funny that it didn't seem like anybody who was a fan of a team that was in a position to draft a quarterback in the first round this year wanted Mac Jones, and he's looked like the best one of the group so far. So I think New England in that defense and Bill Belichick can neutralize the Panthers quarterback, their passing game. Maybe Christian McCaffrey goes crazy on them, but he doesn't, running back's not a position where you can just take over the game like quarterback or wide receiver necessarily. So I'm going to lean New England. I don't feel real comfortable about that pick. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Pats.
I will respectfully disagree that the addition of McCaffrey is going to be what changes this team's outlook in the future. He's just one of those players. He's an all-star player. I mean, there's a reason why he's an RB1. He's the RB1 of RB1s. Put him in. Panthers are a different team. For that reason alone, they're going to be at home. They're going to have him. It's going to be a completely different team than what we've been seeing. Panthers by 3. Now we're going to find all the games here. Next game here. Moving into the AFC West a little bit. The next games are all of our rivals here. We got Denver at Dallas. Scott, how are you feeling about this game?
I don't even think that's a contest. Dallas is going to win this game and win this game big. And they're going to stick a fork in the 2021 Denver Broncos season.
Got a score or any points?
I think this one could be, 31-17, 31-10, somewhere in there.
Is this going to be this week's shutout?
I don't know that. I don't think Dallas's defense is shutout material necessarily, but the Broncos are kind of anemic, and they're trading away Von Miller, which what's that tell you about how they view their season? I mean, if they don't have any confidence or hope themselves, how should anybody else? So, yeah, Dallas, I think they win 31 to I'm going to go 31-13. How about that?
Generous. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what better way to signal to your team that you're giving up on the season than trading Von Miller away? That's got to let everybody know that we're playing for next year already, halfway through the season. I'm with Scotty here. I think Dallas wins, and I think they win big. It's Denver's on the road, so I'll take Dallas and give the points, probably 35-17. How about that?
Oh, all right. Remember at the beginning of this year when everybody thought Denver was good? They were 3-0. They're talking about how good they are.
Nick, you said that the Broncos were signaling to their team that the season is over by getting rid of Von Miller. I would argue that you signaled your season was over when you started Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback week 1.
Fair enough, Scott. That's fair enough.
I don't. You got Drew Lock. See what you got, man. That was a head scratcher. All of that and outside of bringing Peyton Manning in, the Denver Broncos under John Elway, and especially the quarterback position, has been a perennial head scratcher. So,
yeah, clean sweep here. Dallas by easily 9.5 points. I kind of feel like that's a little generous on Vegas's part, giving them only a touchdown and a field goal. But yeah, Dallas, there's no reason they shouldn't come in here and win. They're on a streak. They got a healthy team. Their O-line is probably the best O-line in football. They give their whichever quarterback's in, even though it should be Dak, they give them all the time in the world to make decisions. And when you can do that, you can pretty much demolish any team. So I got Dallas over Denver. Next game we got here, we got the Chargers taking on the Eagles in Philly. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Fuck the Chargers. I got the Eagles on this one. Chargers, they've never really been that team for me. They're always a good football team. They'll hang in this game. I agree with the points, but I think it's going to be the other way. Philly's going to have that 1.5. They're not going to do it. We're watching their demise right in front of us, and we'll see it. We'll see them do even worse this week, I think.
Nick?
Yeah, it's about the time of year where they're supposed to start like missing field goals to lose at the end of the game, right? Isn't it like week 9?
Yeah, right as it starts getting cold.
Yeah, right as it starts getting cold. So, yeah, I'm going with the Eagles here as well. I think the Chargers were overhyped and not that good from the start. So, plus I have a lot of friends that are Eagles fans. So let's root for Philly, and to echo your sentiment, fuck the Chargers.
I've here lately, this last couple of weeks, I've been starting to dislike the Chargers almost as much as the Broncos and the Raiders, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the media love, if it's them acting like just because they got out to a hot start and were in first place for a week or two, now they're the kings of the division. I'm really starting to dislike them. They've gotten not embarrassed 2 weeks in a row. They got embarrassed 2 weeks ago I guess it'd be 3 weeks ago because they had a bye week, but by the Ravens. And then they lost to a New England team that I think is one of those around 500 rebuilding with a rookie quarterback teams. So their head coach was the flavor of the week and was everybody's new darling. And I saw people that were putting him ahead of Andy Reid as the best coach in the division on some shit online and on network sports cable television shows. This go for every fourth down, even fourth and longs in your own half of the field that's swung back around like I said it would at the beginning of the season. It's starting to bite them in the ass.
It really is.
Those dice aren't coming up 11 anymore. You're getting snake eyes now. So but the Eagles aren't good either. They went in and smacked around the Lions, and God, it's got to be terrible to be a Lions fan. But I'm gonna pick the Eagles. I don't know. The Chargers are just, and that's really probably just me being a Charger hater right now, if I'm being honest with myself. But yeah, let's go Eagles. Take care of Los Angeles and hang another L on them. And then Chiefs, they get a win tomorrow. They'll be playing the Raiders for first place.
Yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Fly,
right.
Eagles, fly.
Speaking of the dirty Raiders, they're playing the Giants. We just got done beating the Giants barely. Giants look like a better football team than I expected, but we also kind of look like a worse football team than I expected. What do you guys think of this? What are they going to do here, being at home, hosting the Raiders? Scott, what do you think?
I don't know if it was miscues by the Chiefs offense or if their defense is that good. I was kind of surprised that the Chiefs only scored 20 points in that game. I thought that was a game where they would hang 40 and they would run the Giants out of the building. That didn't happen. Now, we saw again the Chiefs miscues in the goal line on the dropped Patrick Mahomes touchdown pass. Two guys managed to miss that pass somehow and turn it into an interception. Then, the GOAT, Travis, has a fumble. But so I don't know how much of that was the Giants are improving and getting better and the Chiefs just sucking. The Raiders, the Henry Ruggs deal, which is goddamn, that's a terrible, heartbreaking situation all around for everybody involved in that whole ordeal. Prayers up to everybody there that that them and their families can get through that. It's just so awful to see that happen. But the week before they lose their head coach, you got to think they're maybe in a little bit of turmoil. Lost their best receiver. Derek Carr has been a streaky player in his career. He's been hot to start this year, but he's cooled off a little bit. He's second in the league, I want to say right now, in passing yardage. But part of that was because he had an insane first 2 or 3 games and got pretty far out ahead of the field, and he's kind of coming back to the pack now. You'll probably never see me pick the Raiders, and picking against the Raiders is smart betting the last 20 years. So I'm not gonna ruin a good thing and start picking them now. So I'm gonna take the Giants and win a close game at home.
How about you, Nick?
Yeah, not to be outdone. They also had was a cornerback, right? It's the same guy in the other first round pick.
Oh man,
the same draft that somebody DM'd him something on Twitter, and he posted the video of him saying, "I'm gonna kill you, you come into my hood, I'm gonna kill you," flashing all kinds of guns, and like serious guns too. So I don't know. It's you hate to see it happen to a team like the Raiders, but that Henry Ruggs is a bad deal, Scott. That's not. I'm not trying to make any jokes about that. That's terrible, right. And that's an awful tragedy where nobody wins, right? That said, I think all that adds up to we've seen the Raiders lose these types of games before, right? And didn't they lose to the Bears? Only put up like 6 points against the Bears.
Yeah, they lost to the Bears a couple weeks ago.
So I'm going to pick the Giants.
Time to beat the Dolphins.
Yeah. I'm picking the Giants. The Giants. I don't like you said. It's hard to tell, but they looked more competent than I thought. So maybe they're getting some things together. Maybe the Chiefs just had a really bad game, but fuck the Raiders. I'm going with the Giants.
I think the Giants were another one of those teams that just game planned the shit out of us. They threw everything that they could at us, including the kitchen sink, and didn't work for them. But that's probably the best they could have played. And to their credit, they looked great. Like they held them to 20 points. They got a couple turnovers in there. But again, we just have some of the weirdest turnovers ever. But we'll get into that next game. This game coming forward with the Raiders and the Giants, the Raiders just seem a little bit directionless. They don't have a head coach. That tragedy did happen in Vegas. And for those of you that don't know, I think Scott's going to try to host a session tomorrow or sometime.
Yeah, I was going to on Twitter, on my personal Twitter, at this Mr. Rodgers, I was just going to kind of give some thoughts on that whole
I think that's a great idea, man. A great space to have a conversation over a very serious subject that should be talked about. As controversial as it is, there's some serious issues that I feel like should be out in the open and publicly addressed, talked about. You and I had a private conversation. You opened my eyes to some stuff that I wasn't thinking about. So I think that's a great idea. With that aside, they're another team that has those family woes that Nick was talking about. Derek Carr's brother making noise on Twitter saying some stuff after this tragedy, just adding more. Well, I was going to say fuel to the fire, but that's kind of a tasteless joke. But with that being said, I just think the Raiders just don't have anything on their side right now. And with that being said, I mean I don't think their heads are going to be in this game too much. I could see the Giants coming in and actually putting up a pretty impressive number on them right now. Now's the time to strike if you're the Giants. I could see him easily beating them by 3 points. So give me the Giants and the points. Great little segue into the next one. I know we all wanted to talk about it. We kind of keep referencing it just talking about the Giants. Our game versus the Packers. Of course, we all heard the Aaron Rodgers news. That's since changed us to being the favorites. I think we were not favored. I think the Packers were favored by 4 points before that news came out. So how are you guys feeling about Rodgers getting COVID, the flip in favorites of the game, just this game coming up? How you feeling, Nick?
I mean, I wish him a speedy recovery. I don't know how much we want to talk about the periphery there. I've thought about it a lot. I watched the entire Pat McAfee thing. And all I'm going to say is I walked away from that. And I've been not a huge fan of Aaron Rodgers over the last few years. And then I've watched him on Pat McAfee's show, and it's given me a different perspective of him as a person. All I'll say is you can get into the vaccine stuff if you want to. What I saw was a person saying, here's the choice that I made. I believe that that's my right to make this choice. And I believe it's everybody's right to make their choice and what they want to do with their body in any situation. And if you want to make a different choice than me, then I'm totally okay with that. I think that we should talk to people as human beings with love and compassion and have conversations instead of making things a controversy, which, isn't really jive with the sports media world where everything's a debate show and everything's an argument and people yelling and talking over each other. And, so I saw that and I walked away thinking I thought that the way that he said it, you don't have to agree with everything he says or, whatever. I thought it was pretty good. And then to see some of the reaction of people, kind of like an F you, Rodgers, you're an asshole, all this. I mean, I think that kind of, to me, it lets you know everything you need to know, right? I mean, one person is sitting there saying, I respect everything that you want to do. The other person's sitting there saying you're an asshole and you're a piece of shit. To me, there's no other conversation to be had there about anything other than that. So with that said, I'm kind of disappointed we're not getting to play Aaron Rodgers. We got deprived of the Mahomes-Rodgers State Farm Bowl a second time, which, I know the NFL's got to be jonesing for that game. So we'll see if they get the Green Bay and the flex game, or I'm not sure the next time we're sent to play the Packers another 3 years from now, right? So I'm sure they'll try to flex that in. Maybe Aaron Rodgers with a different team next year, and we'll see that. But that said, I still, man, the Chiefs, they didn't look very good, right, when we saw them. And they, Scotty said, it seems like maybe Patrick is getting in his own head a little bit with some of the decisions where he's not just kind of feeling the game and reacting naturally. And maybe that's having an impact. Definitely unluckier than hell. I mean, I know that some people say he didn't put a lot of touch on that pass or, it wasn't a great decision, but I mean, it hit two guys before it got intercepted, right? One guy in the hands, the other guy in the head. And so you got to wonder, how long can this continue before things start being less freaky, I guess. The Travis Kelce fumble was freaky too. He didn't even really get hit. I mean, he just had the ball, and all of a sudden it's like he just lost control of the ball. So, Jordan Love is coming in. He's never played in an NFL game, but he's had over a year now, a year and a half in the league where he has had time to, sit and learn. So he's not going to look like, maybe a traditional rookie. They'll get to see what they have with him. And I've seen people come off the bench before and play the Chiefs defense and look like Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So that's kind of some nervousness in the back of my mind. We started Minshew mania when we hurt Nick Foles, right? Justin Herbert, like, came in as a rookie, not even knowing he was going to play 10 minutes before the game started, and had a good showing. So, all those things are in the back of my mind. But the Chiefs are at home. There's a lot of controversy and weirdness and surrounding Green Bay right now. So I'm still going with the Chiefs. I'm picking us in this one. The odds are that Jordan Love, isn't going to be a great quarterback, right? That's just like, if you just look at picks overall, that's just kind of the odds are against him. I don't wish him any ill will or anything, but so that's kind of where my head's at with it. What do you guys think?
I was thinking, can you imagine the level of relief that Spags and all the defensive coaches had when they found out that they don't have to game plan against Aaron Rodgers? You know what I mean? Like, they're stacked up against it as it is. And like, just when you thought the football gods couldn't hate you anymore, they give you a little ray of sunshine and say, hey, at least you don't have to game plan against Aaron Rodgers. Made my week. I'm not going to lie. Like, I echo Nick's sentiment. I hope he's fine. I hope he's good. I hope he's in great health. I think that should be a discussion more around. So whether or not he was vaccinated or unvaccinated,
Right.
Is the dude okay? Is he going to be okay? Like,
Right.
I don't understand why everybody doesn't want to talk about that. If he is going to be okay, that's great. Like, I saw the Pat McAfee thing. He said he was feeling fine. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think he took the kitchen sink method that's being thrown out there. So good for him. But yeah, great for us too that happened, because they were coming out strong. They had a full healthy receiving core. You know what I mean? Adams is back. MVS was back. They have who's their other guy?
Lazard.
Yeah, Lazard right now. They have. So they were just looking fierce. Their running back Aaron Jones, God, they could have ran all over us. So they still have all of those weapons, but man, that team just looks so less fearful without Aaron Rodgers at the helm, man. I'm just really glad that they don't have to do that. And then I've talked about it before. I think with that being said, it's just going to be another one of those games that our defense can take and just make baby steps. You know what I mean? They don't have to come into this week on full panic mode, just in a frenzy trying to defend the best quarterback that's played this game.
Yeah.
It's just going to let them, again, take another easier step, not an easy step, an easier step than having to plan against Rodgers. Work out some things that they've been working on. The defense looked, in my mind, a lot better last week than they have in the weeks before. Nick Bolton's a big reason for that. He just got named the Defensive Player of the Month with 32 solo tackles and 7 tackles for a loss. So I think that leads the league in tackles for a loss. So, for a rookie to come in and do that, I'm excited. Just for that. So like the fact that he's not having a game plan against Rodgers will let him get that Mike linebacker position, get a little bit more comfortable in that position, understand a little bit of the intricacies. But yeah, so with all that said, I'm liking our chances. I still feel like once our offense starts clicking, we have that opportunity to put up some big numbers. I don't think we're going to do that against Green Bay's defense, but I still think we could get in the 30s in this one. But close game, I would say that we're going to take it 32-28.
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers deal is just to touch on the interview and the situation with him not being able to play because he's unvaccinated, and that whole can of worms that got opened up with his positive test and catching COVID. He sounded to me like someone who has researched, studied, and understands his situation and the vaccine pros and cons better than 95% of the people that are attacking him on social media and on cable television. So good for him. He made the decision he wanted to make for his body after a lot of research. And, I have a feeling a lot of these people that are attacking him are the same people that got it because it got him a discount on concert tickets or some shit. You know what I mean? So Aaron Rodgers is a smart guy. It's his choice. He did what he wanted to do. And to me, it seems like most people that are attacking him are misconstruing and twisting around what he said because he didn't make the decision that they think he should make or that they wanted him to make. That being said, the game to me. Him not playing it almost puts the Chiefs in a no-win situation, because if they win, then it's, oh, well, they would have lost if they played Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, and they should have won. And if they lose, then it's, oh my God, they lost to Jordan Love, Green Bay. Their season's done. They start looking at themselves, and maybe they're, some people start looking in the mirror and questioning what they're doing. I just don't see it. Makes the game easier to win for sure. I know there's some people out there saying that Jordan Love was a high draft pick and that he's had time to be groomed, and that it adds an element of surprise to the game that the Chiefs weren't prepared for. But I'm sorry that you don't – no. That makes this game infinitely easier when you're playing a quarterback who's never taken a snap in a regular season NFL game in his life. There's no excuses for the Chiefs to not win this game. None at this point. I know people said, oh, well, Devontae Adams is coming back, and they've got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They've got a good running game. The Chiefs' defense showed that they could shut down the run. They shut down Derrick Henry. Part of that was that the Titans kind of let their foot off the gas, but they stopped Derrick Henry. Nick Bolton looked like he was the Derrick Henry killer, man. And the Anthony Hitchens getting healthy and Spags saying that he's earned his time, and that Nick Bolton and some of these guys, that's really concerning to me. Nick Bolton has looked like a far better player than Anthony Hitchens.
The most players on the team.
Especially
is what
run
it is.
Defense. So yeah, the Chiefs, they have to go out and win this game. And even if they win, they're not going to get the credit, and there's still going to be the talk and the doubt that it was because Aaron Rodgers didn't play and they would have lost without him. But that doesn't matter. They need to go out and beat a Green Bay team that's being led by a quarterback who's never played in a regular season game before. So, and like Nick said, how long can these weird things happen before they're not a fluke anymore? I mean, maybe they don't practice catching. Maybe the receivers, and hell, Tyreek Hill's been 2 of the tipped interceptions, right? So I guess you can't even let him off the hook. But he has a little bit longer track record of being a sure-handed NFL receiver, one of the better receivers in the league. Maybe that's just what some of these other guys are at this point, and the Chiefs are just that's gonna be an issue for the rest of the season. I mean, at some point it stops being a fluke and it stops being becomes the norm. So they need to hang on to the ball. They need to come out and make this a statement game that they're going to come out and they're going to get the win, and they are going to be looking, they're no longer going to be looking up at anybody in the division. They're going to be tied with wins with the Raiders. Granted, the Raiders don't win this game. This is a must-win game. I think the offense probably needs to score 28, 30 plus to win with the defense, because I think there's still Green Bay can still put up 20, 23, 24 points. So I think to pretty much ensure this game is a win, if you got anything you've been holding back right now, kind of maybe is the time to bring out some of the wrinkles in the playbook that teams haven't seen. It's just Aaron Rodgers' injury sucks from the marquee standpoint of it. And like I said, it also kind of makes this a no-win situation for the Chiefs. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs, come out and win this game 31-23.
How many? It's a little win, other than the fact that if we win, we get the win. So I'll take it.
No. I'll be happy with the win. I just mean as far as the way other teams look and the way that the media and the outside perspective of it.
Sure. That's an easy conversation to have. Just tell them, and?
Yeah.
Win, baby.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody else thinks about the Chiefs, really.
How many touches do you think Gore gets in this game?
Ooh. I really liked Gore's performance last week. I think tag teaming him and Williams is a really smart play that the coaches really need to explore a little bit more. He seemed like a good running threat. I know we're kind of desperate and starving for that running back position to be filled with a threatening player, but if anybody that I've seen this year looks to be that guy, it's Derek Gore. He looked great. He ran for that touchdown we saw this week. Just getting 10-yard carries. That's what you need to get that running threat going. That'll open up everything else that I feel like that's kind of wrong with us. So how many touches he's going to get? I would hope he gets the majority of the touches. I would like to see him get the lion's share of them, but I hope he gets more than 15. I'm hoping to see like 20, maybe 30 touches, but I'm going to guess somewhere high teens.
I think you see the similar platoon role with him and, between Gore and Williams and McKinnon that you've seen since CEH has been out. This coaching staff has shown that they're loyal to guys, and Daryl Williams is the two. Yeah. And, McKinnon and Gore, you can argue back and forth who's the 3 and who's the 4. But he looked shifty. He looked like he was a little nimble. Looked like he had some burst to his game. Been a little disappointed by Daryl Williams and his opportunity with Clyde being out, to be honest with you. I expected more out of him. He had that game against, I believe it was Washington, where he had a couple of short touchdown runs, but really his yards per carry average has not been really all that great. And since he's been the starter with Clyde being out, I would like to see Gore more, but I don't see this coaching staff. I don't see them bumping him up and moving him ahead of Williams. So I think you see Williams get a majority of the touches, and Gore and McKinnon. I think you see kind of like what you've seen the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you there, Scott. I think that I said Todd Haley-ish, right? Todd Haley was one of those coaches that was real similar, where it's like, well, this is a guy that's earned his opportunities with Tom Jones, and I don't care. We got Jamal Charles that can average, 9 yards a carry. We're going to keep going with the guy that can get us 3 and lose the game. And so I think that there's some of that. Maybe some of it is that they're, trying to work him up. They gave him that whole drive, right? I mean, essentially that whole drive. And then, he saw that the hole was blocked, and he, bounced it out, scored the touchdown. I just think that we're missing that, right? Like, I think that you see Williams and CEH just kind of just run right into that blocked hole for no gain over and over and over again. It's just kind of maddening to watch as a fan. But I mean, I don't know. I think that the death of our run game over the last, several weeks has been a huge contributing factor into the way the offense is played. So I think that if we could get some sort of threat on the ground, I mean, I'm okay with running the ball, 60% of the time. If we can get 5 yards a carry, and we can shorten the game, and we can keep our defense off the field, and eventually they're going to have to pull those guys up, right? They're going to have to, if we can get somebody out into the secondary, they can't have those safeties that deep every time. So we'll see. I didn't pick a score. I'm going to go Chiefs 28 to Green Bay 20 here in this one. So.
Yeah, I wish I would have saved or committed to memory the number I saw, but the Chiefs, since Clyde Edwards-Helaire's gone out, their running backs have combined it was 60 carries for 109. It was barely over 3.5 yards a carry. So that's not helping the offense, and that's not helping, to stop teams from putting too high safeties and putting that high lid on the field to keep things in front of them. So running back position, they need someone to step up. And at this point, you guys might fall out of your chairs when you hear me say this, but it might be a good thing if Clyde gets off injured reserve sooner than later and comes back. I've not been impressed with what I've seen from the backups. And Gore, yeah, he had a fine drive there, but I want to see a bigger sample size from him before I'm going to start crowning him a guy that's going to push for a starting role. But the early returns, and he had some nice runs, so we'll see what they do there. But I don't.
It's a really good deep pick. I really thought that was Scott.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, no, it's actually CEH, and they put my face on it, but I just don't know. I don't. The running game has not been good, and aside from a handful of plays or maybe even a drive or two here and there, and they need it to be to stop teams from putting, like I said, this ceiling on the defense. And I mean, there's plays where you see them dropping 7 guys into the end zone and into the secondary, 5-10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and we're not making them pay for it.
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 entire quarters of this game where they played cover 2, cover 3, the entire series. Like, they didn't change it up. 2 deep safeties, maybe even dropped a third one back. Like, they just know we don't have a run game, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's why I'm really excited for Gore. Like I said, I'm probably starved to fill that position. But on the series, I did watch him go. He looked like that guy. Looked like the one that would average more than 5 yards a carry. He looked like he could make decisions on his feet, like Nick said, like bouncing out to the left when he noticed that the hole is filled. Can't tell you how many times I watched Williams and CEH just run right up into our own defender's butt and like go nowhere. And you're just like, what are you doing? Just the hole's right there. I mean, that was one of our comments during this game. But yeah, I think you were right. Just if he could get a larger sample size, we would know. But like from what I've seen, he hasn't fumbled it when we didn't need him to, and he's ran it a long way away. So I mean,
don't say that though.
I don't. Knock on the
Everybody's fumbled it, man. You just curse the guy.
I don't know what the coaches are seeing in practice versus the games, but everything I've seen in the games, I've seen Gore perform excellent. Same thing with McKinnon too. Every time I've seen McKinnon in the game, he's always gotten 5 to 10 yards, and he always has that extra little push that you're looking for. And so I just don't understand. Maybe they're seeing something different in practice. We're like, no, not this week. But man, in the games, if it was just game film that they were watching, they would be making some different decisions, I'm sure.
No doubt. So, well, that's we're all. I think we're all going to pick the Chiefs every week. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
But interesting week of football coming up here. Some good games. We're getting past the halfway point. Here in the season, playoff pictures start to take shape. This point in the season, the AFC, especially with the Derrick Henry injury there in Tennessee. It's wide open. It's there for the taking. If this team can just live up to their potential and get back to even 90% of the team of the last 2-3 seasons, this could be their conference again. But every week that goes by and you don't see it, you start to worry more and more that it's not going to come back, and that this team is not those teams. So I don't know. We'll just have to see how they look. And, maybe they come out and just completely throttle Green Bay this week, and we're having a different conversation. So anything else you guys wanted to talk about here before we jump off?
Nick?
For anybody that's watching or sees this, that hasn't been to the stadium, they have redone the Hall of Honor, and we got to go see the new Super Bowl trophy. They had both of the trophies next to each other in the case, which was super dope. They had the rings. They had Mahomes' Super Bowl jersey on display, both of the Lamar Hunt trophies. So definitely try to get out to a game to check that out. That was really cool, man. And I was really happy that Bo was there with us to go check it out for the first time, see the new, it was really neat when we, it's like we're like a multiple Super Bowl winning team right now, and so that was sick to see those trophies. Scotty, are you going to the game tomorrow?
I don't know. I've put out some feelers. I've got my tickets for sale. If I don't get unload them, I'll end up going. So
yeah. So that's all I got, man. Let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs. I've got a couple things that I'm going to end this show on. We're going to end it. I'm going to play a video and we'll end the broadcast after that. But I just had a bone to pick with Dan Orlovsky, the NFL pundit. I'm sure you guys know him on the NFL channel and everything. He's been going on all the radio shows and all the talk shows this week talking about how Patrick Mahomes is the worst quarterback fundamentally right now, and how he's trying too hard and doing too much. And so I just have a little highlight video I want to show of Mr. Orlovsky's time in the NFL. I just thought it was rich that a quarterback that could arguably be considered as one of the worst quarterbacks to have ever even set foot on the field is trying to criticize one of the quarterbacks who is arguably one of the best to ever set foot on the field and saying that he is the worst quarterback right now.
Orlovsky was also hard.
Have you ever heard the saying, "Those who can't do teach"?
No, sure, but this isn't even teaching. This is jealousy on another level. Like he's just saying some weird stuff.
Breakdown, yeah, that.
He was a hard Carson Wentz truther when Wentz was awful too, and just like would not let it go.
Oh man, he just kind of he's been grinding my gears, going on Dan Patrick show and everything, just kind of talking shit about Patrick Mahomes when like you can tell it's just jealousy. So I have a highlight reel of Mahomes' touchdowns and then a little something of Orlovsky, but much like when he ran out of the back of the end zone against the Vikings, have a little sense of awareness about what you're talking about, man. Come on, like that's just
especially after you've been swinging from the guy's nuts for the last 3 years.
Talk about a flip flop. Like, I get it. I get why he's saying that, right? You got to get viewers and stuff. And he's taking the Stephen A. Smith approach, just saying whatever's controversial at the time. But come on, man.
Scott, whoa. Remember that?
Whoa!
Oh, we lost Scott.
Oh, we lost Scott on that one. Too much fun. But yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's the Kingdom Cast is PG-13, and so they're censoring me here. So,
but no, so I'm gonna play that video. I'll play it, and we'll just end the broadcast that way. So you can send us out, and then we'll just end on the video.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of glitch there or something. I'm not sure what happened with the phone. The Trimble 4G out here, it had a rough time maybe a little bit here at the end. But yeah, if you joined in and sent us a comment, aside from the guy that sent us the comment about who's the best soccer player in the world right now,
even then, feel free to comment.
And even that guy, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. We're having a lot of fun doing this, and it's cool to just get together and see you guys every week and talk Chiefs. Yeah. And we're starting to get a little bit more of a following online. I'm starting to notice the polls that we're putting out there are getting more and more votes, and we're starting to interact with some Chiefs fans, and parts of Chiefs Kingdom out there. I think now too, maybe we're going to maybe reach out to some people we've met on social media and see if maybe they want to come on and join us here on the Kingdom Cast and talk Chiefs. And there's some people out there I saw that got some amazing Chiefs art and are insanely dedicated to the Chiefs. And so maybe we can get some guests on here, and so people can stop looking at just us three, our ugly mugs, twice a week. But we really do appreciate you if you watch, if you join, if you like and subscribe. We're glad to have you, and we'll be back next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Kingdom time, with another episode of the Kingdom Cast. Go Chiefs!
Go Chiefs!
3rd and 10. Here comes Jared Allen, and he's out of bounds. Poor guy. I don't even know if he realized it. And that's a safety.
Well, so much for me calling him savvy, because he had no idea where he's on the field. Tough situation, but you just can't do that. You have to realize, and you can see him, he didn't even know he was out of bounds. Tough situation for a young quarterback, but you always got to be aware, Ron, of the
Kansas City, they're good.